Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. If you enjoy our content, please consider donating and following our socials. Now, here are your hosts, Lord Knight and Oswin. So here's this thing I think we need to discuss.
Okay.
Somebody, a student, I believe, not too long ago, was asking about being a part of two different covens.
Right.
And we said, we don't practice that because to us that's splitting loyalties.
Right.
And we kind of got a funny look.
Right.
So let's discuss splitting loyalties.
First of all, if you're going to two different temples, you're being taught two different traditions simultaneously.
Right.
While there might be some overlap, there won't be a lot. And then you still have the whole entire process of they may teach different stuff than you.
Well, I was going to say, is that also the case if you're within the same tradition? So say like we had a sister coven or we had a branch off.
They should be close enough to where it wouldn't matter.
But would that still be like splitting loyalties?
If you're going to go for a visit,
then no.
No. Again, you're always going to refer back to your main coven that you're under.
Okay.
For advice and teaching. And this is so you don't get in, we don't have this whole entire high priest against high priest and priest, using the parents against each other.
Right.
You with me?
Yeah.
And again, sometimes certain traditions teach certain things that other traditions don't. And some of these things could be a linchpin to other stuff that a different temple not. Like us in Ravenwood. Ravenwood's teaching and process is completely different than ours.
Right.
Imagine trying to do both of them simultaneously.
Oh, I couldn't even imagine.
And there's certain things that they teach that we don't teach.
Okay.
That is specific to their tradition.
All right.
We might have known about them and heard about them, but I'm not going to teach them. They're not mine.
Right. Absolutely.
So again, you have that problem about splitting loyalties, the difference in teachings and stuff like that. I see where it causes problems.
How so?
It's easy to be sitting there and you talking to a high priest or priestess about what another temple's teaching you. All right.
Okay.
Those certain things are left inside temple.
Like what?
Temple business is temple's business.
Hmm.
Their business is their business. There's certain lines we don't want you to cross.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not sitting there saying that we're some grand planned or whatever behind closed doors. I mean, nobody needs to know our temple's business besides us.
So then why would anybody even want to do this? I mean, to me, it just seems more like I'm putting myself in a position where I'm going to be torn. If I'm like dividing my time.
Right.
Equally between two different covens.
Yeah.
I feel like that's putting me in an awkward position.
Yes.
Me personally.
Yes.
So why would I even want to do that?
Exactly.
Much less the potential for divulging temple business that really doesn't belong anywhere else outside of that particular coven.
Exactly. I mean, that's one problem. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand those who they're wanting to learn and they're treating this more like I want to go and learn all these different traditions so I'll know more so I understand some of these people's accomplishment in trying to do that.
Right. I can see that too. But I mean, if I wanted to learn about, I don't know, Gardnerians.
Right.
Right. And I wanted to learn how they operate and things like that. I still don't see where I can equally be a part of my tradition.
Right.
While still trying to learn theirs. I think it's something if you're going for one thing, and this is my personal opinion.
Right.
I think if you're going for one thing like that and you're trying to learn something, you need to submerge yourself into that.
Well, yeah.
It's kind of like learning another language because a lot of times those programs like Babbel they will try to get you to submerge yourself into
the language.
Into the language.
Right. Turn your
Right.
voice over and try to do everything in that language.
Right. Put your headphones on, and for an hour, this is all you're going to do. You're just going to submerge yourself into this thing, and that's it.
Right. You're just going to, if you're learning Japanese, you're going to listen to Japanese anime untranslated.
Right. So I don't see how this is feasible.
Well, I can understand that. All right. Well, again, it was just like the people who do go out there and do go to multiple temples and have multiple first degrees at multiple temples. All right.
Okay.
This raises up several different questions when you're talking to traditionals. What was the reason for moving from one temple to another?
Right. And was each temple aware of...
And you're getting your first degree there, so it's not like you were just there for a couple of times and was like, no, this ain't for me.
Right. You
got your degree, and then you moved on. So what are you really up to?
But see, that's...
it's sort of a red flag for some temples to kind of be going...
Yeah, but that's not... To me, that's not really dividing loyalties or splitting your loyalties, because you've gone through that whole process. That's just, they're collectors to me.
Right.
I don't know what else to call them. They're just collectors.
If you're being initiated to each one of these traditions, you're giving your loyalty to each one of them as you're doing this. To a certain extent, this is what you're doing.
I guess that would depend on the coven or the temple, the church, whatever you want to call it. I think that would depend on that group. As to what they expect out of you once you've gotten your first degree with them.
Well, I guess it's technically, what does it take to be a member?
Yeah.
To where this is where your loyalties is. Where's that line to where in the world? Okay, from here on out, this is your home temple. This is where we expect you to be. Now, of course, if you're 5 hours away, we understand that you're not going to show up for every ritual.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I think it would depend on the group. Because part of our initiation process is we tell you what we expect out of you as a first degree.
Right. But we initiate you into first degree.
Right.
And part of that thing is you're swearing oaths and loyalties. And
yes.
All right. Then you leave this temple without pulling your membership, go somewhere else and learn that tradition and go learn how to be a Gardnerian.
Say I'm some stranger and I got my first degree through Life Temple and Seminary. And then I tell you, I don't think group ritual is for me. I'm going to be solitaire.
Well, fine, because then you're
haven't pulled my membership,
but you're doing solitaire.
But I'm not doing solitaire. I'm going to the coven down the road.
Well, see, and that's where
I'm going to study for them.
And that's where I'm going to say, no, your best bet is just to just say, look, I'm just going to pull my membership, but I'm going to go over here and do this.
Right. But I mean,
because the only thing that's going to be said to you is, fine. That's all yet. Just remember this tradition mysteries are this tradition's mysteries. Please don't reveal them.
But who's to say they're not going to do that?
Well, we hope you wouldn't break your oaths to the gods.
Right.
I'm just saying. No judging.
No judgment.
No judgment.
Okay.
But are you with me?
Yeah.
Then we fall into that category. But again, I'm back to, I can see where it's easily winds up being that playing two different temples off of each other. And I'm sorry, people are gossipy people.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy, to sit there going, I was over there at the temple the other day. We were doing ritual and, such and such pissed off somebody else and it really is not that big of a deal. But then next thing you know, telephone happens and you've got this big old scandal you're having to deal with. That ain't real.
Right. Yeah.
That is now that's ruffling feathers. So again, here's where this becomes a problem. Because most temples, we're close. All right. I'm not going to sit here and say we're your friends or that, but we are close and we should feel free to say certain things in front of people.
Well, and I also know that, like as far as the collectors go, I know that when people come to us, if they say that they're degreed, one of our questions is going to be, where did you get your degree?
Yeah, I mean,
Who's your priestess?
right. You would show up with a letter of recommendation.
And then, and if you don't, we're going to reach out to
that temple and ask for a recommendation.
Right. And that's part of how we kind of get around that. And
yeah, because you don't know, they could have been banished for doing something inappropriate.
Right. Are there other ways to discourage people from splitting their loyalties?
There's no way to actually stop anyone from doing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's going to have to be a moral decision each individual makes. We have a lot of members who live off in areas by themselves and can't come to ritual.
Right.
And no, I don't have a problem with them going to a temple to attend ritual with others because they can't come here on a regular basis.
Well, I mean, that just makes sense.
That just makes sense. But then they're not here on a regular basis to really, you know what I mean?
Right.
And if it does get to a point where it's like these people become more like family, I'm just going to go ahead and pull my membership, move it over here. That's a simple phone call, letter,
sure it is, yeah.
whatever, and done and over with. You're not splitting your loyalties then. And personally, I think it shows, even if you are leaving because there's bad blood, it shows respect to the priests and priestesses you're taking over with, that you're walking into.
Right.
That you're like, look, I'm not going to, I might have bad blood with my old high priest or priestess or people at that temple, but I'm not going to shame them.
Right. And I'm not going to bring that bullshit here.
I'm not bringing that bullshit here. So I'm ending my membership here, going over here. Everything's official up and up. And I'm not going to talk about why I'm leaving.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the right thing to do.
I mean, these things happen,
They do.
Sometimes people just don't get along. When you put a large group of people together, if you've ever worked anywhere where there's more than 500 people, there's always there's that one person that drives you up the wall. And you're either lucky that you only see them briefly in between shifts or whatever. And
right. But see, I think with a larger group, I think it's easier to deal with because then you do have that potential where you don't really have to be around that person or those people
quite as much.
I think it's more difficult with the smaller groups.
Exactly.
Because you're more close knit.
Right.
And you don't have as many ways to quote unquote escape or avoid those people or those situations.
Exactly. I mean, we tell you in temple, first of all, if you have a problem with someone in temple, the best bet is for you and that person to sit down and hash it out.
Right.
Hey, look, I don't like this, blah, blah, blah. Don't matter if you meant to or not, and take it at that and keep on going. Mm-hmm. Bury the hatchet. Because again, if it becomes too much of a disruption, then high priest and priestesses will step in and then nobody's happy.
Right.
By the time it gets to the end of it. All right? Because if you can't solve the problem, we will.
And nobody usually likes those results. So.
Yes, because those results normally be, well, y'all two can take y'all's problems and go way over there, right. And the rest of us are going to stay right here. Mm-hmm. And y'all can go hate yourself over there, not with us.
Right.
Both of you. And most people wig out when they hear, huh? Then majority of the times that's the best solution. Because there is no wrong or right in certain situations.
No, there's not.
Especially
when you're trying to be fair.
Right. Let's go get some coffee.
Let's do it.
Lord Oswin, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
What is man-made?
Well,
I mean, technically, what is man-made?
I would say man-made is considered like anything that you can't find in nature.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Not really, but
all right, because
that's my best guess.
But if I take flint, which is a natural material, and crack it, which does happen naturally during rock slides,
sure,
and you get these sharp pieces of it, and I attach it to a piece of wood and tie it up, suddenly these natural items became man-made.
No. They did not become man-made. What you made becomes man-made. But even then, it doesn't really, because it's made with natural materials.
So, because again, when we think nowadays,
So how technical are we getting on this? Is that what you're getting at?
Again, how technical? Because again, plastic, we say it's man-made. No, it's not its normal form, but the materials are naturally found in the earth.
Right, they do naturally occur.
They naturally occur. They don't naturally occur in the way we have them now.
Right. No, we have to take like several different elements
to break these down and
right.
rebuild certain compounds and stuff like that. But technically, all those are natural materials.
True.
So where is that line? Because it's still atoms. It's still molecule. It's still the natural. It's not like what they're doing at CERN where they're suddenly creating a new element.
Oh, there you go again.
All right. Well, no, I mean, scientists do this all the time.
Right.
Creating new elements is a piece of cake for them.
Right. No, I think, honestly, I don't know. I think it depends on how big of an activist you are, how far you want to take it on a technicality issue.
Because, I mean, like raw crude oil
yeah.
is a natural material. It comes out of the ground.
Sure it is, yeah.
I mean, for decades before we learned how to use it, it was a blight in farms because you couldn't grow no.
Right.
But it's not man-made. But when you talk about oil, everybody just automatically goes, well, it's man-made.
I've never heard anybody say that.
Everybody seems to have the idea that oil is man-made.
Huh.
It's not part of the natural world. Are you with me?
Yeah, that's a new one on me, but no, it's not. It's completely natural.
I mean, now plastic's not natural. But the materials that make up the plastic is.
But see, I think that's the technicality there. Plastic is not a natural material. It's made up of natural material.
Just like our axe.
But it is not. Plastic is not a natural material. That's man-made.
Right.
And that's kind of where I draw the line. It doesn't naturally occur. Maybe what it's made up of does.
Well, I mean, there's, you get rubber from the rubber trees?
Mm-hmm.
Because what, it's the sap or something that you gotta.
I have no idea, not my
So
area.
now there's a natural material.
Right, but it's not the material that we know. It still gets processed.
Right, but
it gets processed with other stuff to make things like tires and wheels for our desk chairs and.
But yet bees take nectar and other things, combine them together and make honey. We consider that natural, but
yeah,
this is not its natural form. It's created.
Yeah, but honey's also edible. I mean, come on.
But again, it's still technically what's going on here.
It's a natural product, though.
No, it ain't. It's a bee-made product.
Oh, good Lord.
So again, my question is, what are natural materials and what aren't? Now again, we tell everybody like your robe needs to be made out of natural materials.
Mm-hmm.
Cotton, linen, preferably something light and breezy and breeze real
right.
But are we really going to have, or you think either one of us is going to have a fit if somebody brings in and actually has one that's like 50% polyester?
Not really.
No. So.
But what does this have to do with paganism?
We talk about always using natural materials, but the more I keep on thinking about it, there's nothing around us that's the natural world. There's these processes going on all the time, creating things, breaking things down.
Sure.
All right. So again, why do we have such a bad rejection of this? The cars, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Most pagans, we reject this technology and stuff, or we try to.
I don't really know. I guess it's because things like plastics.
Well, again,
it's just because of the way they're made, the factories, the pollution.
Well, again, we all have the microplastics.
Well, sure.
Yeah, men's testosterone levels are dropping possibly because of all these microplastics.
Yeah.
So I see where, don't get me wrong, I see why we don't like this. because we want to live in a clean environment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what are we supposed to do? How do you get rid of all these plastics?
I mean, you can't right now.
You can't-
They're so intertwined into society.
I mean, that's like the videos. Have you seen the videos that keep on coming out where the woman goes, "Can you please explain to me? You know, we go to the store, our meat comes in plastic. This,
Oh, yeah.
and it's this long list.
Yeah, this is wrapped in plastic. We have plastic bags. Oh, look, this one's wrapped in plastic. This one's packaged in plastic. And then they want us to use reusable bags.
Make it make sense.
Right.
All right, this is my crux of all this in paganism is why are we doing this? This does not make sense.
Right. It's not really making a big difference in anything.
You know, I mean, it's not like you're sitting there going, "No, I want a butcher back there, and I want to get my meat, and they have to wrap it up in the paper," which I like the paper better, and you get it taken home. I like this idea. I mean, we got a little butchers down here. I love going down there and getting the steak and whatever.
I know,
and
right?
it's a whole lot more fresher and all this, but we don't do it. Why? Convenience?
It's more expensive.
Well, yeah, it is more expensive, but would you not pay more money for better customer service?
I've been known to. I've been known to.
I like good customer service.
Yeah. So do you think we've made too much of this? We've made too big of a deal out of it.
Sometimes I think we've made too much of a big deal out of the wrong issue. It's kind of like, you know, I hear us all talking about, you know, recycling and all this other stuff, but the truth of the matter is the majority of the plastic can't be recycled.
That, and then too, I rented a place from a lady not too long ago, and she was talking about how where she is, they encourage you to recycle.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of things that she found out about it. One, she's having to pay to recycle.
Yes.
And two, when they come to pick up the recyclables, it all goes to the freaking landfill.
Yeah.
Just like the regular trash.
Yeah.
So they're not even doing anything with it.
No. It is an out-and-out scam.
So you want to make a big deal about something. How about, why are we paying to recycle when it's not even being recycled?
But the real solution here is quit using plastics. Quit buying products in plastic things.
I would say as much as try to do that as much as possible.
Reach out to
It's going to be hard to get rid of.
Well, again, this is where emailing these companies going, "Look, hey, can y'all quit wrapping the meat in plastic? Can we do something else?"
Right. My dog chewed up a piece of your plastic and, you know, had a hard time passing it. Can we find another type of packaging deal?
Can we do something? I mean, there's the real problem. What was so bad about the glass bottles we used to have all the time?
Well, I mean, aside from the fact that they were breakable, but
oh, please,
we never really had a problem breaking them.
How do you break? It took a lot to break one of them Coke bottles.
Yeah, I gotta say they were pretty sturdy.
I mean, those things were thick and there was actually a good bit of pressure in there.
Yeah, they were pretty sturdy.
You know, I mean, no, I know we can't get rid of 100% of all plastics.
Right.
But again, if you start telling these companies quit using them, and oh my God, don't let them be sneaky about it like they do everything else. Sure, this is 30% less than what it really was. And then you find out it's some little loophole thing that they got away with. You're like, really?
This is 30% recycled materials. It's that 30% for the whole mass manufacturing thing, so that each one's only like maybe 2% recycled material. Just saying.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some things that are easily recycled.
Sure.
Aluminum cans and stuff like that. Metal's the easiest thing to recycle.
Right.
That old rusted out thing, melt it down, bring it back to...
Absolutely.
It still works. There are these things we should do. No, you shouldn't let your car have the oil leak that leaks, and get them fixed.
Right.
These are the things we actually need to be discussing. This is where this pollution comes from. Pollution don't always just come from the big company up the street.
Oh, Lord, no.
All right?
No, we all do our fair share of pollution
Trust
every
me.
day.
Your neighbors are doing more pollution, and you are doing more pollution than you think you are doing.
Yep.
Anything else?
I think that's it. We'll get more coffee.
Oh, God, yes.
Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org for more information, as well as links to our social media: Facebook, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks.